Welcome to How to Decorate from Ballard Designs, a weekly podcast all about the trials and triumphs of decorating and redecorating your home. I'm Caroline. I'm on the marketing team.
And I'm Taryn, and I'm a product designer.
I'm Liz. I head up the creative team.
We're your hosts. Join the expert team at Ballard Designs for tips, tricks, and tales from interior designers, stylists, and other talents in the design world.
Plus, we'll answer your decorating dilemmas at the end of each episode.
We love answering your questions, so don't forget to email us at podcast@ballarddesigns.net.
Now, on with the show. Okay, we're back with episode 2 of the Carson Kressley mini-series here on the podcast. Of course, if you haven't listened to episode 1, you got to go back and listen to that because it was so funny. Carson, you and Tom are just, y'all have the best banter. So we had a lot of fun there. But today, Carson, why don't you talk to us about our guests and what we'll be hearing about?
Yeah, today we're going to talk with Amie and Jolie Sikes. They are also known by their business handle, the Junk Gypsies, and they are 2 sisters. They had a mom who took them around to tag sales and flea markets and antique stores when they were little kids growing up in, I think it was East Texas or maybe even Arkansas. I should know this, but they grew up loving thrifting and doing that with their mom, and they started their own business called the Junk Gypsies. They've had television shows. They have their own design. I'm going to call it an experience in Round Top, Texas. It's more than a store. And they're going to tell us all about, how they got started, how they started out in the corporate world and said, you know what, we're creatives. We need to do something different, how they pivoted and they've been such a success. And we'll get some inside scoop about some of their favorite clients like Miranda, Lambert, and some of the other country stars they work with. And also, which I could, talk forever about, how to navigate Round Top, Texas, which is one of the preeminent places to do vintage shopping in the world. It's one of my favorites. So let's jump in.
I can't wait because I even remember you talked a little bit about Buc-ee's. So you'll have to listen to hear the story.
Yes, it was big trouble at Buc-ee's, and I don't know if I'm allowed back in there, but listen and you'll find out. I'd love to hear what you think. These are my friends, Amie and Jolie Sikes. They are sisters. They are antique and flea market and adventure lovers. They created a worldwide brand called Junk Gypsies. And I think they've been featured on Oprah and amazing shelter magazines everywhere. And they collab with a lot of different companies like Pottery Barn and QVC, I think done something with. I should be reading a bio, but they really are my friends. I just love to stick to phrases. They are fun. They're fabulous. They have fantastic style. They're amazing entrepreneurs. And I'm just thrilled to have you guys here, Amie and Jolie. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're so excited about this.
We're so excited. And Carson, just to hear you call us your friend is really, this is all worth it just for that. So, we love you just as much. You know that.
Thank you. And I don't know where did we first meet? Was it in Round Top? Or
I think it was backstage at like a CMA. I think they were called the Flameworthy Awards back then. They were like a video music awards in Nashville, I think. Right, Amie?
Yeah, that's right. So we met in Nashville, back right off of Broadway.
This is pre-cell phones or pre-iPhones.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was absolutely country music TV. CMT had a show called The Flameworthies. And I was somehow asked to present an award with Dolly Parton.
Oh my God.
I was terrified. I mean, she's part of my holy trinity of Cher, Madonna, and Dolly. And so getting to work with her, and I love country music. I'm a diehard fan. I grew up with it with my parents. So I was like getting all these like Porter Wagner references, and we got along very well. And we had a fun bit. But I got to meet so many amazing people there in the country music and kind of the Western world. And then that's where I got to meet you kids, which is...
That's right.
So that was probably like 15 or 20 years ago. So we have had a long...
You know what?
More like 25.
I was going to say.
And Amie, I do remember at those awards, do you remember seeing Dolly walk by in the hall?
Yes.
Because I remember, we did not meet her at that awards show.
But she waved at us. Do you remember that?
I remember seeing her walk by and she was like, I didn't realize she's like 4 foot tall. I mean, I know she's teeny, but she's like so teeny. And I just remember this amazing aura, bigger than life, but this big. And she was just walking down the hall.
Her scale is like a very large collectible doll. like when they do those giant dolls on QVC by Marie Osmond, that kind of like, you could lift her and pick her up, and she's just the most precious, wonderful human ever. So.
And you were with Minnie Driver for something. Maybe it was just a photo, but we had a picture of you and Minnie Driver together and something of ours. I can't remember what, like a Kiss My Grits shirt or something.
I remember what it was.
It was definitely that.
Well, so Carson had on our Rebel Road Sister cap.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? It was the pink Rebel Road Sister cap. And then you wore it to a party out in Nashville or photographs. So it was in a magazine.
I did. Yeah. That's when I was with Minnie Driver. I don't know how it all happens, but my life is a blur like that. I was just like, wait, I met Minnie Driver. Yes, I did. And you were saying when we started, we didn't have phones and cameras, and people are like, oh, what's your favorite person you've met or favorite experience? So I was like, I don't remember, because it's all a blur, and I don't have the video or the photographic diary that Instagram allows us to have now. So it was a different time. But anyway, we digress. Let's move on.
Let's do it.
Y'all are like the queens of Round Top. So, and Carson, your collection is so based on antiques. So I would love, maybe y'all can kind of give our listeners a brief history of the Junk Gypsy brand, but also, maybe we can get in a little bit about Round Top, because I know that that's a big passion of yours, Carson, going to antique shows.
I love it. And I'll kick this off. Amie and Jolie have a fantastic mom who's part of the brand. I can see her whenever they're doing something at Market or at the NFR in Vegas. And I think your mom was really kind of the impetus. Didn't she take you around to flea markets and thrift places all over the countryside? And that kind of fed your interest in antiquing and thrifting, but also helped to create your brand.
Yeah. So we always say, mom kind of takes a backseat in the business. She doesn't like cameras. Mom wants to be at two places, one or two places. She either wants to be at a flea market or at a casino. And
I like her even more.
And so literally, Jolie and I both went to college and had these, aspirations. I was going to do law school. Jolie was going to do something medical field. Jolie has a master's degree. I mean, we don't know why. We don't use it, but we have it. So, but anyway, but mom was so disappointed. She wanted us to do something with what she had taught us growing up, because mom and dad had been, they were self-employed, and they wanted us to do something along that route. They wanted us to do something creative. She thought that we had creative gifts and that we would be wasting those, and we would be unhappy if we were lawyers and doctors, and nothing wrong with those professions. But she, oh my gosh, wanted us to be happy. And I'm sorry, I didn't know how to, I didn't turn off my phone.
I did it.
Oh,
speaking of mom, she's calling on my cell phone, and Amy's on my Mac. So Amy's seeing that she's calling.
I was like, how am I seeing this? I thought
it's like she knew. I thought I had on Do Not Disturb. Okay, continue, Amie.
So anyway, mom wanted us to do something with basically what we'd grown up doing. They were self-employed. They owned restaurants. She always took us to the flea market, and we would like decoupage and paint stuff, and she just wanted us to be happy. And so she was really the reason why this all, started to happen.
Wow.
Well, and our parents had, like Amie mentioned, restaurant growing up. And it was just a small local hometown pizza restaurant. And I don't know why Dad chose pizza, because he is a country boy to the core from Arkansas. But it was an old building downtown, and we renovated. I mean, Amie and I was like 10. So Amie, you're probably 12. And we tore up the floors, tore out the ceiling, put in, fake wall. I mean, it was just, went down to the bricks. We were painting and overhauling. And back then we were decorating with old signs, which now it's sign overload, I know, in the world. But this is when we were, 30 years ago or more. 40 years ago, I guess. I like to think I'm 40. But anyway, so we grew up kind of renovating things on a small level, not knocking out walls necessarily, and with self-employed parents. So we did both try the real job thing, but I think it just, when you grew up self-employed and we wanted to work together, so that was just the direction that it evolved to.
I love that your mom kind of knew for you, though, and I think so many parents kind of do that in the reverse direction, where they're like, no, you've got to get a solid job and make sure you have a business degree or become a doctor or a lawyer. And they don't want you to be that creative kind of gypsy, literally. But your mom knew that life and knew you so well. She was like, you can do that, but I think you're going to be happier doing this. And look how it's turned out.
Yes. And it's literally just, I mean, we work really hard, of course, but we've gotten to do something that we love with our family. Like our kids help us now too. Mom and dad still work with us every day and they're both 79. And, we've gotten to do this magical thing for, over 25 years now. And what a gift it's been. Now, I mean, if Jolie had become some like world famous, neurosurgeon or something, maybe she would
Overrated.
I wouldn't have a cork board behind me.
She wouldn't have a cork. She would not have dirt under her fingernails. She would not get to go to the flea market all the time. And she wouldn't meet people like you, Carson. And I mean, truly, this has been one wild ride that we never could have planned for, So we couldn't ask for a better life.
I love it. And tell the listeners, not everybody knows what the Junk Gypsy brand is about, but that kind of entrepreneurial side, when you had all this experience of flea marketing and thrifting and being creative and creating retail environments and restaurants and all of that, what does Junk Gypsy do? What is Junk Gypsy all about? Tell our listeners, because I've been and it's a magical wonderland.
Well, I think Junk Gypsy, I think that's part of our self-employment. We did not have a business plan. Our business plan was to see what opportunities arose basically along this path. And as we've said, we've been at this for 28 years at this point, Amie, something like that. And in the beginning, I guess I was still finishing school, and Amie and Mom they made homemade pillows, and we took them to the flea market in Canton, Texas. And I went with them every weekend and helped, but I was still like doing school. I was an advisor at A&M and doing school, but anyway, so they thought these pillows were the shtick, and there was this creative thing they did. Mom actually still loves the pillows. She still has them.
Jolie, tell them they weren't just regular pillows.
They weren't. They were like knick-knack, paddywhacked. Like they had all these embellishments and like this. They attached beads and leather strips, and they were really pretty. And like one side would be denim, and then one side would be tapestry. And I mean, they were really pretty, and they handmade them. And we did these photo shoots with them out in our pasture at home in East Texas. And anyway, so we took it to the flea market in Canton, Texas, which is a 5-day flea market, and they didn't sell one pillow. So we sat there all day, every day for 5 days with people in and out of the booth and didn't sell not even one. Yeah. But true. But what we learned at that flea market was that everybody was interested in their display pieces, which was chippy peely furniture. So again, remember, almost 30 years ago. So instead of packing up at that point, Amie and Mom went home, and of course I went back to school, and then we went back, was it the very next month, with chippy peely furniture. And we took all this furniture, and what we did is we started displaying it. Back then, 30 years ago, I can't keep saying that, it was a little bit of a white space for women, and young women at that. And we would display it like it would be in your home. I mean, and it was like, we would do a whole little vignette of a bed and a nightstand, which you didn't see much back then at the flea market. It was really just stuff thrown on tables or on card tables. Some people were doing it, but not much. And so that's where we started learning, okay, people are drawn to this. And then we started doing that. We would feed off of that. Well, then, and I'll let Amie tell the story of the first time she drove to Round Top, because I know y'all want to hear that. But what we discovered at Round Top was, we were like, let's just do a shirt. I mean, just to commemorate this experience, this kind of sisterhood that everybody has at the antique show at this flea market. And so we did one box of shirts.
Like
and
T-shirt or?
T-shirts, yeah. And when we weren't, and so Amie had done it was literally like where you would cut and paste graphic design. And, there was no Photoshop really back then. So it was a cut and paste thing. And we printed this one box of shirts with these old vintage cowgirls, because we thought it was so powerful, and this strong women, and this whole symbolic of sisterhood and strength and all that. And then I get teary, and put this old frame around it. And that was where the quote, "Well-behaved women really make history," came from. Or we put it on that shirt because that had always been in Amie's cubicle when she worked in Austin. And, Anyway, so women went crazy and they're like throwing their shirt out. We didn't even get to set the shirts up. It was just for fun. We did a shirt. It wasn't supposed to be the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And women were like throwing the shirts out of the boxes. Amie sold the one off of her. It was all sweaty and disgusting. And they wanted that shirt. So, and that's where the shirt started in the design and the powerful statements, because that was a white space as well 30 years ago. So everything's just kind of evolved with no business plan. But that's led us to, and then along that path, everything else has slowly happened, like the TV show or Miranda Lambert's wedding or Dirk Bentley's Airstream, or, I mean, everything we've done is just kind of, I've always say it pops up like hitchhikers on the road, and we kind of pick it up and then we just see what happens.
Don't do that in real life, but metaphorically, I think
don't try this at home.
Yeah. So, and now you have a global brand. I know you have an amazing store in Round Top, Texas. And tell people what you all do. I mean, you have apparel, you have antiques, you have bedding, you've created a lifestyle brand kind of around the cowgirl aesthetic, but also like a vintage cowgirl, I guess.
So, I mean, like Jolie said, it really started with the vintage. And then because of the vintage, and we were doing all of these shows, all of these big flea markets in Texas, and then other shows as well. But the whole way we were kind of like building our brand more like you would if you were a musician. So we were going to people in their cities. We were setting up these magnificent displays. We were having these parties, like our Junkarama prom that we do. We were having these parties where we invited all the women to come and dress up. And really it was like that well-behaved women rarely make history was like our rebel cry, And so I felt like we gave, it was like design and some clothing, but it was really more about like, female empowerment and male empowerment too, because you would not believe the amount of letters. This is once again kind of pre-email. We would get letters from men who would say, like, literally looking at what y'all have done, reading your stories, because we were getting magazine articles and stuff like that, has like inspired me to quit my job and like go pursue what I've always wanted to do with my life. And so, but because of that, because of all the vintage we've done the clothing and the jewelry and the home goods. And then, like people like Pottery Barn called and HGTV called. And so we started doing all that. So the brand is really multifaceted. And then, because we do all the lifestyle stuff, the clothing, the decor. And then, of course, a hotel came up for sale right behind our building. So, of course, we bought that. And then, of course, it had a herd of longhorns. So, well, now we have a herd of longhorns. I mean, so we just, like Jolie said, the business has been dragging us behind it for a long time, and we're just doing our best to keep up.
You know what? I think I'm just trying to like process this for people listening, but I think you followed your joy and your heart. And I think all of us in the creative fields are doing that. And it's not easy. Like, samples get lost and you have tough business quarters and whatever. But at the end of the day, you're doing what you love, and it's your passion. And it has to work because you love it so much.
And for us, the big thing for us was always, we never looked at another model and said, oh, they're successful, let's do that. It was just kind of stick true to what we believe or what we're drawn to. So we would put quotes on shirts or do something in design. It wasn't necessarily in a rule book. It was just we liked it. And our mom, to your point, Carson, she's always loved the simple things, like the things that, I mean, it could be a $5 trinket, and mom just loves things like that. It could be free, free's even better, But so for us, like simple design, I mean, not that it's simple, but it doesn't have to be fancy or high dollar. And so we would mix like a flea market treasure with maybe a really beautiful crystal chandelier or whatever. But it's never been about what the value of something. If it spoke to us, or we thought it had a story to tell, then we liked it and we created our story, our look with that.
Mm-hmm. And when did you guys make it to Round Top? And we'll get into like how fabulous Round Top is and what Round Top is and how you should do Round Top. But your headquarters are there now. How long have you been there?
I think that we started doing the Round Top show probably like 2 years into the business. And we started the business in 98. So we probably first time was here was the year 2000. But then we actually decided to put down roots and move here about 16 years ago.
I think it was 2010.
Okay. So anyway, but yes, and that was a great decision. And that was kind of a spur of the minute decision because the right place came for sale at the right time, and we just kind of had to fearlessly jump onto it. But yeah, Round Top's been was a wonderful thing for us to do. And once again, like a lot of things in this business, we follow our gut. We don't necessarily always know if we're making the right decision, but we just follow what our gut's telling us feels right. So this was the right decision for our family. It was the right decision for Junk Gypsy and the right decision for our family. And those two things always go hand in hand because we always pick what's right for the family first. And then we figure we're going to figure out a way to make it right for Junk Gypsy,
Well, and Round Top definitely wasn't then what it is now, the town. But we were like, we've always been drawn to this area. I mean, it's beautiful. It is the country. I mean, not during the antique show. It's just pastures of cows, and Amie and I grew up in a small town. And at that point, I had a 5-year-old, you had like a 2-year-old, and we wanted to have our kids, ourselves, of course, but our parents back in a small town. And so we were like, this is are we crazy? We're going to move a business to a town that's population 87. And I mean, that doesn't make much sense in the business scheme of things. But we were like, well, we already have online and we're doing this and that. We won't be any worse off. I mean, I don't know if that's really great business logic, but that was how we looked at it. And then I just love the fact that, and this is a true story. So it took us a few years to get the store open, but literally I don't know if it was the first day or the first weekend, the store was open.
The first day.
The first day the store was open, Pottery Barn had no idea who we were. They had been up at Dallas Market. And they drove down because they'd heard about the Round Top Antique Show. And so we didn't have a sign or anything. But there were tons of cars pouring into our store because it's taken us a few years to get open. And I think we had a TV show at that point. And so Pottery Barn was like, this must be a really great place to eat or a really great concert. Let's turn in here. So they did. And that's how our whole Pottery Barn collaboration happened. So had we not made the choice to move to a town population 87, we might have never had our Pottery Barn collaboration, which lasted for about 3 years, and we loved it.
Again, follow your heart, follow your joy. It always works. So let's tell the listeners, because Round Top, I'm smiling, as you can see, because it's one of my favorite places. And I was thinking about this like a couple of days ago, like it is my passion. Like I will walk through a flea market no matter where I am. If I'm like in the south of France, if I'm in Texas, if I'm in New Jersey, like I'm always looking for the flea market. And I grew up similarly with entrepreneur parents. My dad was a car dealer. And every time we went out to dinner on a Friday or Saturday night in Allentown, Pennsylvania, we would troll through car lots to see what their inventory was because that was his passion. I
love it.
I was in the back like, can we just get to Arby's? And now I'm that person, but with flea markets. I'll be like, hold on, we have to pull over. We have to go see this like, terrible flea market, great flea market. But I digress. But Round Top is my happy place. And it's like, feels like Christmas morning every time I go there. And maybe about 10 years ago, I didn't even know about it. And I feel like a lot of even design people, like I was just in Keswick, Virginia, a fabulous house for a fabulous family's Christmas party. And their designer was there. And they had some beautiful antiques. I said, where did you source these? He's like, Charlottesville. I said, have you been to Round Top? He was like, what is Round Top? I had to put my 2 martinis down and say, I'm going to to you, my child. This is very important. I'm going to take you. But Round Top, for those who don't know, is a teeny tiny town, population 87 in, I guess I would say East Central Texas, halfway between Houston and Austin. And it's just, gently rolling, kind of flat meadows with lots of longhorn cattle. When you go for the spring show in March, the bluebonnets are coming up. And it's literally a series of probably thousands of acres of farms that I think, how old is the show? Like maybe 30 years? Like 30 years ago, someone took their empty barn and said, let's have an antique show in here. And then the neighbors did that. And then the neighbors did that. And now there are literally thousands of vendors. There's a show in March. There's a show in October. It's several weeks long. Different venues open up at staggered dates. So there's always something new happening. And you can find a container railroad car full of chandeliers from Belgium. You can find rusty chickens and cactuses. You can find things from Europe, things from Asia. beautiful rugs. It absolutely has everything. In the last, I would say, 5 or 6 years, vintage apparel has become so popular. Western apparel so popular. So you can get beautiful handcrafted cowboy boots, cowboy hats. There was a Balenciaga pop-up, which I have mixed feelings about. I'm just like, wait a minute, let's
I know.
crazy kids. But there is something for everyone. It is a mecca for designers. I went with a group of designers. I went with Martin Lawrence Ballard. I went with a whole group of people that were wonderful, and they bring celebrities there, and they shop for really personality pieces. I feel like I'm droning on and on about how great it is, but that's kind of what Round Top is. And since you guys are experts and you've lived there for so long, just tell us how we should do Round Top. Tell people what they can find there, and maybe just go on about the magic of these discoveries that you make there and how they can fit into a beautiful design scheme for just about everybody.
Well, first, I need to tell you how we found Round Top. So, of course, we're from Texas, but we had never been. And we started this business and we started doing Canton, which is another large flea market. But somebody walked into our booth and said, you have to do Round Top. The way y'all do your displays, the way you set up, like you have to do it. So I got in our old farm truck and we rented a Penske. And we had a Penske and we had the old farm truck hooked up to a flatbed trailer. And Round Top has always been, from the very beginning, it was actually started by a lady who wanted to do a high-end antique show. And it was a playground of the Houston elite, really, is what it was in the beginning, and eccentrics. And so, like in the early days, this cowboy in town imported a red Rolls Royce to haul all the women. This is in the late 60s. To haul the women around town to different cow pastures in a red Rolls Royce. So this town has always been a mixed bag of what you think it is, you know, because it's cowboys, it's denim and diamonds, it's minks and manure, it's junk, and it's Balenciaga, and, you know, it's like high level French antiques, and then literally like an old rusty, like you said, like a chicken coop or whatever. But the first time we came, I will never forget, because we were, and this would have been in the year 2000, rolling into town in this old Dodge truck with a flatbed with a bunch of rusty old crap back there, seriously, like nothing, no fine antiques. And we pulled in at sunset, and I swear to you, it was one of those moments where I knew that I would never do anything other than this with my life. Because we pulled in, the bluebonnets were blooming, the sun was setting, the rolling hills, vintage as far as you could see, huge circus tents. And I just remember just starting to like just shake, you know, because I was just the excitement of it. And then we started unloading, and you start meeting the vendors and you meet the people, and you realize that all these people chose this life. They chose to be junk dealers or antique dealers. And I mean, it was literally, I was like, I felt guilty because my life was so good. And I have all these friends who were like lawyers and doctors, you know, and, but Round Top is magic. It really is. And it's not just because of the stuff that gets sold here, but it's because of the types of people that meet up here. It is a mishmash of cultures, of ages, of different styles, but I feel like it just it's like this wonderful designer vintage stew, you know?
It's
like,
cornucopia.
It's cornucopia, yeah.
It's a cornucopia, but what we love is that what we learned to really love in the beginning was not just the junk, which we've always loved the junk, was like Amie said, though, all the vendors were everybody's so different and diverse, and everybody's backgrounds. I mean, some were former, like one of our good friends was a dentist, you know, in Houston, and then one's, you know, there could be, I mean, they're
and the other one's, and Jolie, the other one's an ex-con. I mean, you know,
yeah, I was going to say that, yes, and I mean, and their pasts are so colorful and so rich, and some could be professors or whatever it is, but then they've chosen to come do this because they love it, and everybody specializes, and it's interesting because everybody would specialize in different things, and you would know each one's look, and you'd be like, oh, you know, Joe Pete, this is so your look. You need to go look at so-and-so booth, you know, and things would just kind of evolve. And then And then we started learning during the show itself, all the shoppers are so happy as well. So the shoppers are here, they're happy, the vendors are happy, and it was just such a happy place to us and so inspirational because the creativity and the knowledge, a lot of places when you work somewhere, maybe everybody's an accountant or everybody's a lawyer or whatever, but here, everybody's something different and everybody has different interesting stories to share.
I love that. Totally sums it up. It's magic. It's a theme park of antique and vintage wonders and the best people you will ever run into. Now it can be overwhelming, and I went as a newbie. I think on my own, and I stayed at the wrong place, and it was 500 degrees, and I had the wrong shoes, and I didn't have a wagon, and I was I needed water, and I was doing everything wrong. And now that I've been for about 10 years, I feel like I'm a pro. But how would you, if people want to come to Round Top, they're going to come see your store, Junk Gypsy. Where do they fly in? What's kind of your game plan to survive this really wonderful, but I will be honest, very overwhelming antique and flea market palooza that is Round Top?
It is very overwhelming. Just to your airport, we'll start at the beginning. Our favorite airport is Austin Airport. We love it. There's often live music. All of the restaurants in there are all Austin-based restaurants, so you're going to get a real flavor, literally and figuratively, for all of Texas and Austin and Central Texas in particular when you fly into Austin. And it's only 70 miles from here. And you never get into Austin. You land and then you just kind of hit the country roads and then you're here in 70 miles. So that's where we fly in and out of Austin.
And you have to rent a
wherever
car.
we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to rent a car.
You have to rent a car.
You rent a car. And that drive, 70 miles sounds daunting, but I usually do it when I'm filming a barbecue brawl. So I'm living in Austin at that time. And I will go out multiple days because things are always changing. Different farms are opening up their fields. The 70-mile drive is delightful. There's a Buc-ee's about halfway in, oh God, I don't know what, Bastrop or something. Bastrop, Texas. And you must go to Buc-ee's. It is a delight and an experience. I recently went to one in Florida, and I was so delighted by the shopping experience that when I came out, after I filled my car with gas, I left with the gas nozzle in my car. And they were
You drove off?
I did. Gas thing still in the car. And as I pulled out, I heard a clunk, clunk, clunk. And I was like, oh, God. I was having my armadillo nuggets, and I thought, what was that? They have a wonderful safety system there, and it disconnected. There was no drama, no problem. It did not turn into a scene from Zoolander. And I can't recommend Buc-ee's enough. They're absolute delights. I pulled over. I was like, do I need to stop? Did I just commit a felony? And someone came and reattached it. And I was like, thank you. Goodbye. So again, I digress. I'm so ADD, but you're going to drive that 70-mile drive. It's delightful. It's scenic. It's picturesque. There's a Whataburger when you get to the exit, and then you make it into Round Top. What's next?
So, of course, we would say make Junk Gypsy your first stop, but really, it depends on what you want to hit. If you want to get in the fields and get good deals and get old junk and farmhouse finds and all that, then there's the fields. If you want to get the high end, you want designer, you want, French wardrobes that are, $50,000. I mean, you want that there's a different place for that. So it's good to kind of have done some research up front and figure out what you want to hit the most. Yes. But then again, remember, you might always find that $50,000 French wardrobe in the fields for, $5,000 before it goes to there, Right. So really, the thing is to have a few days if you can. And, of course, some of our favorite fields are Excess. I'm sure you've shopped that, Carson. Excess is wonderful.
Excess is kind of an outdoor, a big giant pole barn. And people bring things from India and Belgium. It's very eclectic of treasures from all over the world. Yes. A little quirkier.
Yeah. Yes. And so we buy a lot of weird stuff. We've bought one of the things we bought over the years here. We bought a 12-foot tall fiberglass elephant it had a fountain coming out of his trunk. We buy circus items. We buy,
Fortune teller machines.
Fortune teller machines. So most of that kind of stuff we do find out in the fields or like at Excess. But then, there's the higher end places like Blue Hills, Marburger, Market Hill, all of those. And they're all fantastic, really.
Marburger is kind of, that's the creme de la creme. I think the most curated, most beautiful vendors go to Marburger. It's very organized, but you pay the price for that. Like they've done the curated,
that's true,
beautiful and lovely, but it's more expensive than the fields. To your point, like I saw a wrought iron bed there. It was white. It was crumbly. It had 2 saddlebred horses like welded onto the top of it. I was like, I must have this bed. It was $25 or $50.
Yeah, no way.
So there's the whole gamut. And yes, you can go online. You can research the different vendors. I love a place called The Arbors. They have clothing.
Yes.
They have furniture. They have a lady that makes jackets out of old Hermes blankets. They have a cowboy hat bar. They have a band. They have a bar. They were having a mahjong tournament when I was there. Like this one, it couldn't get any cooler. What is the name of that vintage place that's mostly clothing? And it's called like the Horseshoe, I think.
Yes. So the Horseshoe is a new
Horseshoe.
field. That's a new field, and it is absolutely fantastic. But you know what, Carson? There's something you've never done when you've come to Round Top, and you know what that is?
Nude skydiving.
That too, hopefully. But
I haven't done that. But what else?
You've never been to our prom.
He's actually done that.
I have not been to the prom. Guys, they do a prom every year. Is it only at the fall show or do you do it spring and fall?
It's at both.
Okay.
It's at both.
And tell us about prom.
So our Junkarama prom just kind of accidentally started, oh my gosh, 22 years ago, 21 years ago. And it's when we used to sit up out in the fields before we lived here. We had a tent. And we just kind of kept seeing all these old prom dresses and people's booths for like $5, and people still didn't want them. And it was just, there was something we kind of humanized the dresses, and we were like, we feel so sorry for them. So someone said, let's dress up in them and give them one last hurrah. So that's what we did. And about 20 customers came. We served sangria. We danced under the stars here at the flea market on the dirt, and it just was actually really special. So then we did it again the next show. So then it just became tradition, and now it's grown to be, so now it's here at our store because we've built a real store here, and it is just magical. We have music and food and drinks, and people just dance, and it's all ages. There's like little girls in tutus spinning, and it's so magical. And then we all dance or line dance or whatever it is all night long, and it is just an amazing time. There's a theme.
Outfits.
Yeah, there's a theme every prom now. That's kind of a new thing over the past few years. And the outfits blow us away every show because they're so creative. People just go all out with their hats or their dresses, whatever it is. We've seen so much creativity at the prom, and it's so fun. People of all ages just love it.
So now we know how to navigate Round Top a little bit. And this podcast is called How to Decorate. So the question is, how do you find those special pieces? Do you have a list of I'm doing this room and I need something that is going to give it some gravitas and some soul. So I want a crackly old Danish sideboard. Or how do you go about working antiques and vintage things into more contemporary environments? And how do you kind of source those pieces?
So, we just did a big project for Miranda Lambert. She started her own record label, Big Loud Texas. And so we did her headquarters in Austin in this historic mansion. It's one of the first mansions in Austin. It's next time you're in Austin, we have to take you.
I want to go.
But we had a plan for that. We sourced almost everything from there. Now, we did order some stuff from Ballard Designs. We actually did. We ordered some light fixtures and things from Ballard, had those delivered straight to Austin. But we knew what we were searching for here at the show. We knew the top color palettes we were looking for. But it's kind of for that. We knew we were looking for some things that, like this piece behind me, this tufted black vinyl. We knew we wanted some stuff like that felt kind of like a record label. So we kind of hit up all the usual suspects on that, like Excess, the Horseshoe, found some things at Market Hill. But for us, it's just about coming up with some sort of a concept, but then of course, Jolie and I always say we have commitment issues, and one of us more than the other, but we don't ever get so tied into a certain look that's never going to hold us back, because we might find something that we go, oh, this one thing became the whole room for us, and we just ditch all of our plans. Like, and we kind of did that, Jolie, with the bar. That was a completely different direction, and then we decided to do that rose wallpaper and all that.
We definitely did. We did art for the spring show that said, "I never promised you a rose garden," and then that accidentally inspired the entire bar. So we called the bar the Rose Garden and did giant rose wallpaper and black walls, and it's just super vibey.
And this was at Miranda's, and we had like a neon artist do a giant pink rose to go on the wall. But then we sourced like a vintage back bar from here during the antique show at Old World Antiques, and anyway, so for us, it's a mishmash of the new and the old. We always combine both of those. We don't ever just get so tied into one certain look that's what we have to do.
And I think the overall, when I tell people, and some people are really intimidated by antiques or by vintage, and I just say, listen, they're like the salt and pepper to your look. They're going to bring that seasoning and that flair. I personally like new upholstery. If I'm getting sofas and occasional chairs, I like fresh and new for that. But then, those accent pieces, the artwork, of course, or like a beautiful buffet. I like those pieces because that gives the room a little bit of gravity and soul. And I don't want an antique environment to look like I'm in a museum, whether it's a tree house. Right. Like some people do that and everything is from that era. I don't want that. I love a layered and a look that looks like somebody lived there for a long time and went collecting and has 2 new sofas, but they have their grandmother's china in a beautiful Welsh china cupboard in the background. So I think it's about that mix that makes it so successful. And my number one tip for anybody going to flea markets and antique places, that piece is going to call to you. It's going to say, I must go home with you. And I think when you find that piece that calls to you, it's going to work no matter where you live or what your aesthetic is, because if you love it, it's going to work.
Right. I'm talking about that, about things that have a soul and they have a story and all of that. Like, I hear people all the time say, oh, this estate sale, and it was so sad because they were selling all of this lady's whole collection of whatever it is. And I'm like, I don't, after 28 years in the antique business, I don't really look at it that way, because I feel like there's so many things that I've gotten from estate sales or flea markets that are some of my most cherished possessions. Whereas maybe that family, maybe her descendants would have thrown it in the trash. But then to me, it's like gold, So I just think that sometimes these pieces are they're supposed to be with certain people at certain times. And maybe we're just kind of ushering them through this world. I don't think I think they do have a soul and a story. And we definitely feel that. I mean, there's things that I'm just like, oh, I could never like I found this vintage seashell collection that this lady had kept. And it's even like typed on the typed little labels on the bottles, and then inside the seashells she'd handwritten like the genus and the species, and like it's like it's beautiful, So I've just got it in one of my cupboards at my house.
How lovely!
And that's the thing with antiques is and flea market stuff. I don't always. Everything we find isn't always, I don't think, an antique. It's just good old stuff. Yeah. But it's just stuff that maybe people aren't going to, it's an art. It's a lost art, really. I mean, not many women are quilting anymore, or doing the seashell collection. And we just don't. I mean, I don't quilt. So, I mean, and our mom doesn't quilt. It's just something they're dinosaurs, really. So when you find cool old pieces like that, I think it's something really special. And like Amy's seashell thing, I have a locket I just found, maybe the last show. It's just a little, gold locket. I was digging through all this guy's lockets. He had 1 million, and it had the Navy emblem on the front, whatever. And when you open it, the pictures were still in there, and I was like, this is so amazing. So I wear it because I just think it's so special. Like Amy said, I appreciate it.
I love it. One thing that anything like equestrian. If I hit a flea market or an antique show, it's going to stop me in my tracks. And a couple weeks ago, I just found a box of like old pictures and ribbons from somebody in like Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and the Lancaster Horse Show from 1937, and pictures of the horses and notes on the back. Like, Tommy showed my mare and she was so bad. but from like the 20s and 30s. And I'm like,
I love that.
family and seeing where they lived and where their beautiful home was. And I totally went down the rabbit hole. But that's like if you really love it, that's like an extra benefit of like the soul and the joy and the story behind an item. And if it looks great in your home, it's just they're you get a double whammy of joy, which I love.
Right.
So if you had tips for novice people that are just going out to source antiques, how would you demystify it for them?
I have one quick tip. This might be talking about, I think you may just be speaking about antiques, but I want to circle back to the Round Top show real quick. I know you kind of mentioned it, but the dates are so confusing to everyone. And there is a website that is, Amie, it's the Big Red Barns website, which they're only open 4 or 5 days, but the URL is kind of confusing. It's called the Round Top Antique Show, I think. So everybody Googles Round Top Antique Show and they think that's the only dates of the show, because there's no governing body of this show. But the show is actually 2, if not 3 weeks long, like you inferred, Carson. But I think that really confuses everybody, because I have people text me every show and say, I see the show is, and they'll list those. Is it 4 or 5 days, Amie?
Yeah, it's like 4 days.
They'll list those 4 days. I'm like, no, it's for actually this time.
Jolie, the Junk Gypsy, we are the freelance chamber of commerce for the town.
For the antique show.
we feel
Please
more
help
phone
us.
calls at Junk Gypsy than the Chamber of Commerce does. I promise you. Call us. We will help you.
It is confusing.
We can help you navigate the wild, weird world of Round Top Antiques, but basically it goes over 3 weekends, and any time during that time is good. Like we were talking about Marburger. If you want to hit those specific shows, you have to come when they're specifically open. But the fields and most of the shows are open basically for 3 weeks. So
and that
just call us.
It's in March and October, and you're right. The RoundTopTexasAntiques.com would seem like the official site for the whole fair. It is not. It's kind of one of the people that started the fair at the Big Red Barn. Those are like 4 days, but there's a month worth of other vendors. So yes, some shows run for a couple of days. So you have to, see what shows you want to go to and then back into those dates. Or just come and enjoy whatever's open when you're there.
So many times.
That's what
Just come and hang out.
If you come not during show times, how is it? Is it like what else is there to see?
You
How many
definitely
stores are open still.
You don't want to come on a Monday,
Capital?
Tuesday, or Wednesday, because most of the town is Mayberry and it is closed. But
we're open.
We're open.
Yeah,
we're open 7 days a week, and we would love to have you any day. But if you're coming on weekend, the town is still pretty. There's kind of really great energy in the town, which, is literally one square. Almost every weekend, there's always something going on, whether like we have the winter antique show coming up, which is nothing like the spring and fall, but it's a medium level antique show. It's definitely growing. And there's, Chili Fest and there's Wine Fest. And there's always Film Fest.
They have a film festival,
Right. There's always something going on, it seems, in the town. So it's always good. I always hope people come to Round Top during the antique show and not during the antique show, because it's a whole different feel. And when the 100,000 people aren't here, you feel like you are in Mayberry, or you're like on a movie set in our little square. It's so cute, like in a little episode of Hope Floats. So we like people to try to visit both experiences because it's really cool.
Yeah, and the little town also has, they have cute restaurants. They have Armando's is a famous Houston Mexican outpost. They have their version in Round Top, and they've opened a couple different places. Oh, lodging. That's always people are just like, oh, do I have to go back and forth? It is tricky to stay in and around actual Round Top proper. How do people navigate that?
So conveniently, we have a hotel here on the property. We have the Wonder Inn. But there's all the lodging in Round Top for the most part is really good, because you have to think everyone who has lodging here lives in a town where the biggest antique show in the world is twice a year. So the lodging is really spectacular. Yesterday we were actually over at the Frenchie scouting for a photo shoot we're doing. The Frenchie is amazing and beautiful. The Round Top Inn, the Flop House, which is vintage containers. the farmstead. There's several that are.
But on that note, I was going to say we really do encourage people to stay in the Round Top area, Round Top, Fayetteville, wherever. Stay close to the antique show, because if you're driving, 30, 40 miles, whatever, back to Austin, you're missing one of the most fun parts of the antique show, which is the evenings. The evenings are so magical here. It's what we fell in love with was how amazing the flea market. We used to call them flea market nights are. So I really. If you can stay as close as you can so you can experience the evenings, and you have to stay 2 or 3 nights to actually experience the antique show.
And when you're saying the evenings, and I know, but tell people, like, they have like brisket barbecues and line dancing and dance halls and your prom.
How do you find the best? Yeah. How do we know where to go?
Your social calendar while in Round Top is very, very full. You have to pick what you want to do because there's like feasts and fields. Like there'll be like cow pastures that have these pop-up dinners. And then like you could come to here to Junk Gypsy and we do these dances. Like we've done a thing with Kendra Scott where we'll have a girl band come in. It's all girls and they do like, vintage, like old country music. Like they'll play the Dixie Chicks and Trisha Yearwood. And then we, have a hat bar and we have roping lessons and all that. So you pick you can pick your own adventure in Round Top really. And it can be bougie. It can be really bougie. Or you can do more of like the authentic kind of like Hope Floats kind of vibe, which is normally what we do more of here. But there's so many different options and you just can't hit it all. And the food's amazing. There's so many great like pop-up places during the show that are doing spectacular meals. I mean, it's
like
just
chef meals. We're not talking, no offense to the turkey legs out there, but we're not talking turkey legs on a stick. I mean, it is like, it's chef type meals and they're really amazing meals here everywhere. I mean, there's so many options of good food and drinks and cocktails or whatever, and then live music everywhere.
Carson, have you ever we have one of the most famous food trucks in Round Top sets up in our front yard. And have you had the giant ding dongs?
Oh, no, you didn't.
I have not.
So people literally, she sells out every day. She does these homemade giant ding dongs that'll feed like 4 people. And y'all, people exit off the highway just to come get them.
Amie, look at Taryn's face.
She sells out every day.
Well, you heard it here, everybody. And what?
If for nothing else, we have a reason to visit right there.
We'd never be invited back to Ballard's podcast, Ballard Designs podcast.
No, just make you love us more. I love you more.
Oh, that's going to be
the family program, people. It's a family
program.
program.
For the episode, Giant Ding Dongs.
Yeah.
I think it's perfect.
You have to do that when you come back. You have to.
How fun. All right. So the food, we talked about where to stay.
And let me say, as far as where to stay, a really good resource is if you go to the Chamber of Commerce's website, they have a thing on there where they have a lodging request form. And if you just fill out that form, tell them what you're looking for, how many people you have, they send it out. And if anybody who has availability on those days will contact you back.
How far out do we need to be booking lodging?
Now.
Like
early.
Like 6 months?
Yeah, very
6
early.
months?
We're probably already booked for the spring show if I had to. I mean, there'll be some days open for us during the spring show. It depends on the day.
Like early, like super early or super late, which is always fine too,
Yeah. But I mean, you could still definitely get lodging in Round Top, but I would be working on it, January right now for March.
Okay, so 3 months would be good. I was thinking maybe it's like 6-9 months or a year.
Well, some places it is. Like we're already booked. We're booked for prom, probably already for next fall. But we would definitely have availability other times of the show.
And here's a fun news flash. It's not set in stone yet, but I'm working with a company to do a curated trip to Round Top that I'm going to host.
Oh, fun!
We'll help people, handle their lodging, handle their flights. Have a bus that will drive around and take them to the different venues. So that's coming in October for the October show. And it's our big Round Top experience extravaganza. So you can follow my social media and my Instagram, get more details as we get closer. But March is right around the corner. That's a great one to check out in October also. I kind of like the spring dates better because it's a tad bit cooler.
Yes, that's the good thing about the spring.
And
It
the
is.
bluebonnets are coming up, and you're just like,
Mhm.
you're coming out of that winter funk. You're at this
Mhm.
beautiful place. Flowers are blooming and cattle are grazing, and you're finding, your vintage dreams are coming true. But October is also lovely. And October, one thing they do, they have some Christmas stuff. Like Market Hill is a big, giant location.
Uh-huh.
This year, for the first time, I believe, they had a giant tent just for Christmas. Probably a football field, like everything
Mhm.
very
Mhm.
big.
Yeah, we're the biggest small town you'll ever come to. I mean, it's everything here, all the barns, all the fields. You cannot even imagine how much stuff is here during the antique show. I mean, you do have to just come to believe it, really.
Yeah, it must be seen.
And the round top fashion is a thing all of its own.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
I thought we were missing that aspect.
What did we wear?
Well, it
Got it.
So, I mean, you're in Texas, so cowgirl boots are a must and a cowgirl hat for the sun.
Uh-huh.
We usually wear bandanas, like Amie has one on her neck. We don't always shop in boots all day. I mean, we have work boots that we might wear all day, but you do need to be comfortable because let's be real, you are shopping. And this is not always perfect ground. If you're not at the mall, you're like on gravel and caliche rock and dirt and things like that. So, we would suggest boots and good tennis shoes. And then, like he said, if it's in the fall, it's pretty warm, so you might want to dress appropriate for that, whether it's shorts or if you do skirts. But then we always wear a hat. I mean, we don't go anywhere without a hat on, and that's for multiple reasons. Maybe we don't want to fix our hair. I don't know, but but also sun, and it's just fun. Round top fashion it's really fun. I mean, it's kind of a genre all its own.
It sounds like we could buy a hat though if we forget it.
Oh, absolutely.
There are hats everywhere. I got the most beautiful, Shantung Panama Stetson something or other when I was there last time. I went in fall and I wore suede, like floppy Stetson work boots. I wore white shorts and a white cotton cowboy shirt, and I had some turquoise jewelry, and I had a bandana wrapped around my arm in case I needed to dab the sweat, and I had a cowboy hat.
How filthy? Didn't you get filthy by the end of the day in those white shorts?
No, he looks great.
White on white.
He looks great.
It's good to know.
And
always
it's so
looks
fun
great.
buying clothes there and finding vintage fashion. The biggest trend I would say is that, and you guys have probably seen it, and certainly we've seen it at Round Top, is anything quilted. Like jackets made out of old quilts and dusters to the floor made out of old quilts. And you will, if you love fashion, doesn't matter what kind of fashion, you will see a fashion show in Round Top because it's part of the gig is like wearing your look.
Yeah, Round Top fashion. I think there's people here that you're here to shop and they have on tennis shoes and comfortable clothes or whatever. But then there's people, and we love these girls and we're so happy they're all here. But there are girls who are here. They are fashionistas and they are here to kind of see and be seen.
They're getting the gram.
And they are. And y'all, the outfits are off the charts and they are spectacular and we love them. And so you will see, and it is like, what's the thing where everybody dresses up? Is like Comic-Con? Is that what it's called?
Cosplay? Oh, Comic-Con.
Cosplay. Yeah, like it's like cosplay, but like for cowgirls, And so it's like over the top, like all your jewelry, your hat with 25 different pins.
I mean, some of the hats are like, what, that tall? I mean, they're giant. So
it's really, really cool to see, though. It's definitely, it's a great place to people watch.
Yes.
Do they still have the lady in the square who sells kimonos? Like, she was in that main little square there for a while.
I don't know. That's not ringing a bell.
She might have been a pop-up, but she literally was selling kimonos from Japan, and that was her thing. And I was
I don't know if I've seen
and why.
I don't know. Yeah.
But to your point, Taryn, that's the magic of Round Top because there's people bring beautiful things of all genres. Like, don't think just like Western wear and cowboy hats. Like I said, it's containers from Belgium and Paris and Palm Beach and whatever you're into, they will have. You just have to find your people.
And let me tell you, I have 3 kimonos in my closet that I wear with my cowgirl boots. So
perfect. See? All the fashion. I love it.
My Ballard gals, do you have questions for Amie and Jolie that we didn't get to?
I wanted to ask y'all about your creativity because Jolie, you kept talking about your display. It to me is more like an installation. It's like an anthropology window display on steroids. They're so imaginative and creative, and I guess I'm curious. Like, did that grow over time? Like, did you get more and more ambitious as y'all did installations? And also, how do you maintain that creativity to just sort of think outside the box? Because it's such a part of y'all's brand. Like, it's reimagining the junk into something special that requires so much, creative spirit. And it seems, it's easy to get into a funk. So I'm curious how you keep that up.
It definitely got more and more ambitious. I mean, it started out small, we would just hang things or make a chandelier out of something bizarre like a pirate ship, from the flea market. And then it just got bigger and bigger. And I think Amie and I, we've always, because we don't want to grow up maybe, but we've always loved whimsy. And we've always kind of refused to be adults as far as in the way we dress, the way we decorate, and that's from our mom, because we just think your home should be fun and your style should be fun. It should reflect who you are. And we all want to be fun. So we've never taken any of that too seriously. And so if we see a 12-foot fiberglass elephant, or how tall was the cowboy riding the armadillo, Amie? Like 20 foot?
Yeah.
20-foot neon. Then if it makes us smile and makes us happy, then we would want it. And so we've bought the craziest, wildest things. And thankfully, most of it's worked out. Right now, we have a 30-foot tall hot air balloon in our store. So it's just, and part of the challenge, I think, has always been, how do we make this work? How do we turn this into display? But thankfully, our dad has got a little bit of MacGyver in him, or a whole lot of MacGyver in him. He actually puts MacGyver to shame, probably. And so we've always figured everything out one way or another.
Well, I think that's what makes your brand so compelling, too. And being a person who worked at Ralph Lauren for almost a decade, we would call that merchantainment. Like, you want to create
there you go.
An environment that when you come in the store, it creates magic. And magic loosens up the purse strings, too. You're just like, you get in the mood. Like, they're not playing like fun music when I'm out like jean shopping at Bloomingdale's. I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I have to have the mood. So I think that retail storytelling that you do so well, it just supports the brand and the merchandise. It just gets you into the vibe and makes you want to live that life and ultimately buy that product.
We've had people, say, are y'all going to run out of ideas? And we're like, ideas are actually our problem because there's too many. And the more you do it, the more you want to do. It is like a drug, So, and especially doing what we do and being in the vintage world and finding like these crazy circus carnival ride pieces, or some insane like rock and roll concert that you've never, concert poster you've never seen before, or like, I bought a turquoise alligator guitar case recently, like a really old one. Still had the receipt in it from the 60s where the man bought it. But those things you'll find, you're like, oh, I want to do a whole entire area around this. And I want it to be, a cowgirl that ran away with a 1960s rock and roll star, to join the circus or whatever. And so next thing you know, like that painting behind Jolie's desk is going into a display in the store. And, and so we love, like Jolie said, we don't take ourselves too seriously. We will never be a serious designer that you're going to see. And we all know the very serious designers that will never be us. We will never be that person. Because we always want things to be fun. And we want kids walk into our store and are just like, and that's, to us, that makes us so happy that you've got like a little 10-year-old girl or a 10-year-old boy that wants to spend their birthday at Junk Gypsy. And then likewise, you might have an 80-year-old that wanted to spend their birthday there too, but it's because it speaks to something innate. We're not following the normal style, and it's fun, It's
a Willy Wonka moment, when you walk in your store, it's, that anything is possible, and it's magic, and it's joy, and it's smiles, and it's laughter. And we need that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I think partly our superpower of this fantastical display is probably also our kryptonite in a way, because Amie and I are like all over the place, and we don't just have one style or one look. I mean, we'll have one area that's all overflowing with pink and flowers and bows and, swans or whatever. And then we'll have another area that's so badass, rock star, Jimi Hendrix vibes. And it's commitment issues, I guess, but we like something, then we're tired of it, and then we change it, and then we're just we kind of like all the looks, and we meld them all together.
I do too, and it's just like I'm going to have to open a store or like buy another house. Like I love antiques and found items and new things and just any design element I love so much. Like I just watched this movie. It's called The Housemaid with Amanda Seyfried last night.
Oh gosh, I'm scared to watch it. I read it, so I'm terrified to watch it.
It's scary-ish. You'll be fine.
Okay.
The movie's going on. It's like
I'm with you on that.
Like, look at that
100%
wallpaper in their outer room. Like in the theater, like what is that? Can I shoot the screen? And of course, people with me are like, you just have a really big problem. But inspiration is everywhere. And we love so much. Sometimes you have to like edit it down to like your faves of all time, or like be lucky like you and you're designing projects for Miranda, Lambert, and fabulous fun people that love that vibe. So I need to start doing that so I can keep buying, because my house is overflowing.
Yeah. Or Carson, why don't you just come put in a store in our front yard in Round Top?
Okay, we'll do a Ballard pop-up.
We'll do a
Let's
pop-up
do it
in October.
That would be so amazing.
Yeah, we'll do a collab.
Let's do it. Okay. Y'all heard it here first.
Yeah, I don't know if Ballard's down with it, but we just said it's happening.
It's happening. It's official.
It's happening.
Only if that food
She'll
truck
be
is
there.
there. it
Free
sounds
ding dongs
like,
all day
so
long.
We'll be there.
Sign us up. We're there.
I'm just blown away by the creativity and the imagination. Like I said, it's like everyone loves like a anthropology window. This is like that, but an entire store.
Three-dimensional.
Yeah, like it's just so. I think sometimes when I go to a flea market, I like get a little bit pigeonhole, right? Like sometimes I'm like, how am I going to I don't necessarily see the potential. So I just am in awe of how you take a old drum and turn it into a coffee table, or like it's crazy.
I'm just so excited to be along for the ride for this conversation. This is just so great for Carson, for you to invite Amie and Jolie here and to facilitate this conversation. I mean, this has just been so fun.
They are the experts. I love that they're we just did an event together at the National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas. And that's like another thing. Like if you love the Western vibe, it is such a fun thing to do. I mean, Vegas is always fun in small doses. The rodeo is really entertaining. They have this thing called Cowboy Christmas, and it's at the convention center, and it's thousands and thousands and thousands of square feet of Western wear, buckles, silver, horse equipment, side-by-sides, gaiters, campers, dualies. I was in heaven, and I'm not even that much of a cowboy as I broadcast from New York City. But that's a really fun thing to do as well. So go to Round Top first, and then go to the rodeo in Vegas and shop Cowboy Christmas.
So we had a very good time with Carson in Vegas. He graciously agreed to host we did a fashion show with Radio Quincy.
I begged them to host it. Like I saw it posted and I was like, I think I should be hosting this. And then thank you for making it happen. And
it was so much fun. But, it's funny because people will say, okay, so is Carson really as great in real life as he seems like he is? And we're like, he's better. No, truly, you're so
true.
I mean, it's true. And, it's good things happen to good people. We firmly believe that. And so anyway, we're just so happy that we've stayed in touch all these years and are back in touch even more now because we just saw you this last week in Dallas.
I know. You can't get rid of me. I'll be moving into the inn very soon.
Please.
Can't wait. We'll put you to work. You'll be feeding the longhorns.
I know my way around some cattle. Don't you worry.
That's true. Hey, and a lot of y'all don't know this, but Carson is a cowboy. I mean, you're an equestrian. You were raised on a farm. Like, you have how many horses do you have right now?
I don't really know officially. I think we have 27 on the farm, but they're definitely not all mine. And,
right,
but then babies come, and I'm like, oh, do I own that one? Okay. I love, a country lifestyle is definitely in my wheelhouse. And I have a farm, and I do love that world. And I think, antiques and vintage things fit perfectly into that. So it's all just very authentic for me.
Amie and Jolie, could y'all tell everyone where they can find you, follow you, and see your work?
Okay, so our Instagram is Junk Gypsy. Pinterest is
Junk Gypsies.
JG Co.
Okay.
I think it's JG Co, right? Website is shopjg.com.
And also you can we do have a collection with Buc-ee's. So when Carson goes to Buc-ee's and pulls the gas can over, the gas tank over, you can go in and get your beaver nuggets.
Right. Yeah, that's what they're called. Beaver nuggets, not armadillo nugget.
And beaver, armadillo, who's counting? And you can shop your Junk Gypsy collection there.
And they should come to your store in Round Top. And
come to our store.
It doesn't have to be during the show. Like if you're anywhere near Austin or Houston, it's a beautiful drive out there.
Right.
Your store is open all the time. And, and
we also have a store in Wimberley as well.
Oh, and that's closer to Austin.
It's closer, but it's much smaller than the store here. But we do have like a little outpost in Wimberley.
Okay.
So that's
much smaller.
Yeah.
That's wine country, Texas wine country.
Yes.
Kind of the rolling hills south of Austin. And there's a great outlet mall out there too in San Marcos.
That's true. There is.
If you need a little Versace or Gucci in your life, you can pop it there.
You should just be the Texas Tourism Council.
I do love Texas. I do.
I know. When are you going to buy a house here? We need you to have a
Round Top ambassador.
We need to make it official.
I'm sure it pays a lot.
Okay, listen, Jolie and I at our houses, we have almost 80 acres. And you could just put a house beside Jolie and I. Like,
I'll put
come
on. An Airstream. That's really fun.
I love it.
Well, and I have one here that we're not using, so we'll just put it beside my house.
And we'll do one of those galvanized aluminum paddle watering trough bathtubs, like in the opening of the Fall Guy.
It has one of those in it. That's what the bathtub is.
I'm moving.
What else do you need, Carson?
I think we're good.
Just send it in your rider. We'll handle it.
And I've got 2 broken down horses right there in the pasture as well. So
oh Lord, Amie, he would.
You might have to bring some better horses, but
we'll make it work.
Okay,
we'll make it work. Well, that's the show, everybody. I want to say a huge thank you to the Junk Gypsies, Amie and Jolie, for joining us today. And I'll be joining you very, very soon in Round Top. Please check it out, everybody. If you were inspired by anything we talked about today, literally anything at all, you have to check out my exclusive new collection only with Ballard Designs. We've put links to all my favorite pieces right in the show notes, so go ahead and click away. I'll be back with the mini-series on the How to Decorate podcast next week with a very special guest and special friend of mine, Mr. Bobby Flay. It's gonna be delish.
And that's our show. You can find all of the show notes on our blog, howtodecorate.com/podcast.
To send in a decorating dilemma, email your questions to podcast@ballarddesigns.net so we can help you with your space.
And of course, be sure to follow us on social media at Ballard Designs.
Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. And please leave us a review. We'd love to hear your feedback.
Until next time, happy decorating.